What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Kakis, and there's only 3 days until we're done edging. I'm done waiting for the Edge of Fate because it releases. Anyways, guys, today we're going to be showcasing a group of exotic weapons that you should absolutely be using as soon as the Edge of Fate DLC releases, because you'll gain a significant advantage. Now, why is that? Well, all of these exotic weapons appear on the featured gear list. Now, what that is a big list of exotic weapons and armor that will count as new gear. And that's because, as you can see right here, you get a new gear bonus in the Edge of Fate. Depending on the tier of the new gear, you're going to get up to 10% bonus weapon damage. Now, you might be wondering, well, what about exotics because they don't have a tier? Well, as you can see right here from this screenshot from the Edge of Fate gameplay capture event I attended, I have a new exotic energy scout rifle on, and I'm getting the full damage bonus. It says 15%, they changed it back down to 10, but again, this shows Bungie is counting exotics as tier 5s with this new gear bonus system. And so that means if you use any of the exotic weapons on this featured list, you just straight up instantly get 10% bonus damage for the campaign, for your very first kills in the Edge of Fate. And so in this video, we're going over the best of the exotic weapons on that list. So the first exotic I've got to shout out is what you're seeing in the background gameplay. It's the third iteration, a brand new Void exotic scout rifle. Now, don't worry, this is the Season's Pass exotic, so you're going to have access to this immediately. Like, you can, go into the Edge of Fate, claim it, and start using it for your initial campaign run. And it's actually a very good exotic weapon. If you aim down sights and hold it for a bit, you'll see the reticle tighten, and if you get a headshot with that tightened reticle, you instantly go invisible, and even if you don't get that kill, you mark that target so that follow-up shots will do significantly more damage. It also shoots like 3 projectiles per shot, and so the DPS output with this primary is significantly higher than you would expect, right? Combined again with the survivability of constantly going invisible, it's one you should consider using. Now, moving on from there to the exotics in-game right now that you can prep and get ready to use in the Edge of Fate. The first group is solar weapons. Now, I have to shout these out because, as you can see right here, there's a brand new seasonal artifact perk that's just in column 3, so pretty easy to unlock, especially if you've done some bounty prep, guys. If you get rapid precision hits with solar weapons, you become radiant. And then with stasis weapons, you actually gain frost armor. So we got to look at some solar weapons because, again, that is an incredibly powerful benefit. So as for solar weapons, the first one I'm going to shout out here is the Tommy's Matchbook. Again, this is on the list. If you're thinking, what about the Sunshot? It's not on the featured list, so you will be giving up 10% bonus damage. But the Tommy's Matchbook is overall just a very solid exotic weapon. Now, there is a big downside. It will actually do damage to you as you continuously fire it. However, as you can see right here, Bungie's actually buffing it. You're going to take less self-damage than ever as long as you are hip-firing it, and they're changing the catalyst to just straight up give you cure on a final blow instead of improving your health regen, which should be a huge buff for this thing. So Tommy's Matchbook is looking real good. Not to mention, pretty easy to get rapid precision hits with a rapid fire auto rifle. Now, aside from that, the other solar exotic weapon on this list I want to shout out is actually going to be the Polaris Lance exotic scout rifle. An oldie, but a goodie, guys. Even though this is a slow shooting 150 RPM scout, this thing can crank. Every 5th hit causes a solar explosion that also scorches, guys. The catalyst will also make it have Dragonfly. So if you are using this against just a singular target, it can actually melt more powerful enemies because of all of the explosions and scorch and ignition from the scorch, and now it's going to be giving itself radiant. Yeah, not a bad choice at all. Now, for the other half of that seasonal artifact perk for stasis weapons, the one I've got to shout out here is actually going to be the Wicked Implement Exotic Scout Rifle. Now, if you're moaning and going, another slow shooting scout rifle, this guy out of his mind, well, I've got some good news. First of all, the Wicked Implement is one of the best exotics in the game for applying stasis debuffs. Rapidly landing precision hits will cause a target to become slowed, and soon after, they're going to freeze entirely. You get that shatter buff. On top of that, it is producing stasis shards, and if you have the catalyst, it also actually gets headstone, so if you're getting precision kills, it's going to be causing those stasis crystals. You're going to be spawning stasis shards that will overflow and reload the magazine. Just again, actually an insanely good weapon for just inflicting every enemy you're shooting with stasis debuffs. And in the Edge of Fate, as you can see right here, it's actually getting an archetype change to now become a rapid fire frame, which I think is going to be a huge advantage. So it's just going to be even quicker in getting those precision hits to not only apply its own debuffs, apply slow and freeze and all that, but it means it's going to give you frost armor faster with that seasonal artifact perk, guys. So the Wicked Implement is one to look out for sure. Moving on from there, let's just talk about some other good weapons on that featured list. The next one here in terms of primaries is going to be the Barrow Diad. Now, this was a recent exotic from episode Heresy, and this thing actually slaps. Like, if you invested the time and fully upgraded your Barrow Diad, especially if you have the version I have right here, where you have taken Ambition, where Blight Generation increases the longer it remains on a target, combined with Target Lock that also wants you to remain on the target and gives you bonus damage for doing so. Like, when you are shooting all the blights at an enemy, this thing does a crazy amount of damage. I made a build video around this plus the Peacekeepers on the Titan that boosts SMG damage. Like, you're taking down bosses with this thing. It is crazy for a primary weapon. So definitely, again, one to look out for. Now, moving on from there, guys, the next exotic I want to shout out is our first special weapon, and that's going to be the New Land Beyond Exotic Sniper Rifle. So this was the pre-order bonus for the Edge of Fate like Prophecy Edition, and so people have access to this in-game right now, and it turned out to be a really good weapon. You would think, you know, a sniper rifle with iron sights is kind of a meme weapon, a fun weapon, but first of all, it gets a bajillion reserves. So you have so much sniper ammo, and it just hits incredibly hard, especially with its exotic perk that will increase its precision damage every time you get a precision hit. Like, I was unironically using this thing in the Spire of the Watcher opening encounters because it would just decimate the yellow bar like mini boss hydras that would spawn. Like, it was crazy good at just chunking those powerful yellow bar enemies. So again, now 10% bonus damage on top of that. Not to mention, guys, it's actually also getting a new exotic catalyst as soon as the Edge of Fate launches. This could be juicy. Now, moving on from there, guys, the next special weapon we have here is gonna be the Choir of One exotic auto rifle. Yes, it's a special weapon auto rifle, and this thing is crazy good. Like, in my opinion, this is one of the best exotic weapons in the game right now. It's basically a special weapon heavy machine gun. Oh, except it's actually probably better than most heavy machine guns because you can hip fire it and do insane amounts of damage because it's shooting like 5 bullets at a time. Combine this with the fact that if you did unlock the catalysts and have the craftable version, you can put on destabilizing rounds, which makes the ad clearing potential just disgusting. Again, like, this is as good of an ad clearer as heavy machine guns with destabilizing rounds, right? And again, 10% bonus damage on top of that is crazy, crazy good. Not to mention, a ton of people have this because Xur sold it last weekend. Even though it's a paid DLC weapon, he was giving it out to free. So if you got one, yeah, it might be time to whip it out in the Edge of Fate. Now, moving on from there, guys, we have a couple of heavy weapons. And the first one I've got to shout out here is the Legend of Acrias exotic shotgun. Coming all the way from vanilla Destiny 1, this thing still slaps, guys. Oh my goodness. This was like the best DPS weapon in the game for farming the first encounter of Prophecy, right? Like that, people were unironically using this, an exotic weapon from like 5 years ago, to one phase dungeon bosses in content that came out a couple of months ago, right? Like, it is still relevant, especially if you have the catalyst that gives it trench barrel. It just does a crazy amount of damage. And this is where, like, that 10% bonus damage, which, remember, guys, it's like 10%, which is magnified by Radiant, which is magnified by extra damage against Weakened. Like, that 10% can turn into a lot of bonus damage. But yeah, 10% bonus damage on, like, a heavy DPS weapon monstrosity here. Yeah, that's going to make a big difference. Like, that is going to really make the Legend of Acrias melt certain bosses. Now, after that, guys, one more heavy exotic weapon I need to shout out here is actually going to be the Microcosm. So, this is the first and only kinetic heavy weapon in the game, and also the first and only heavy trace rifle in the game, but it's just one of those things where the Microcosm slaps. People forget how hard it slaps, but like, this was the best exotic in the game to kill the final bosses of the Dual Destiny exotic mission. Like, when people were farming the crap out of Dual Destiny, they were running Microcosm because it actually just does so much damage after using your super. You put down your well, you start microcosming, or you use your tether or whatever you do for your super, and then you start blasting the Microcosm. This thing melts. And so again, 10% bonus damage on top of that is crazy. But unlike the Acrias, which is much more DPS focused, a bit harder to use for crowd control, the Microcosm is basically like a machine gun. You can absolutely use it as a machine gun for ad clearing, and then also when you come up against more powerful enemies, it will melt them. So this again is one that will really benefit from that bonus damage. And so, guys, there you have it. That is the exotics that are again available in the game right now, with the one exception of the new scout rifle, but you can use and immediately get that tier 5 new gear damage bonus in the Edge of Fate. Would highly recommend considering using these exotics for your legendary campaign run through, guys. So that's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.